Staff at the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have been ordered to stop communicating with the World Health Organization. That's according to a memo sent on Sunday. Staff were told to halt all engagement with the organization and, quote, await further guidance. The memo says the directive was made in line with President Trump's executive order withdrawing the US from the WHO last week. The move deals a significant blow to global health efforts. The US is one of the largest countries to fund the organization that's tasked with coordinating the international response to health emergencies. In another stunning move, the Trump administration has placed dozens of senior career officials at the US Agency for International Development on immediate leave. Sources say around 60 officials were notified Monday, and there seems to be a particular focus on USAID's General Counsel's office. An internal statement from the agency official has tied the action to the same executive order that led the US State Department to freeze almost all foreign aid just days ago. According to the statement, actions designed to, quote, circumvent the executive order have been identified and need to be analysed. Jeremy Konyndyk is the president of Refugees International and a former senior official with USAID. He joins us now from Washington. Good to have you with us.
My pleasure.
So Donald Trump's State Department has sanctioned a 90-day freeze on all new funding for nearly all American foreign aid, pending a review. What's your reaction?
Well, this is going to do a lot of damage both to America's reputation and America's leadership overseas, and as importantly, if not more importantly, to the many people who have for decades been able to rely on U.S. support and U.S. assistance to make their lives better. This is shutting AIDS programs that supply drugs to HIV survivors to keep their infections at bay. It is feeding people in refugee camps. All of that is being shut down now. And a lot of hard security assistance as well that serves U.S. interests in other ways. So it is just hugely damaging, and it makes America look very weak and unreliable on the global stage.
And of course, right now, that aid has been used in places like Gaza, like Ukraine, Sudan. What impact will it have in those areas?
So in a place like Sudan, there is a famine actively underway. This is pulling back the very humanitarian relief that is combating that famine. It is pulling back things like water assistance, nutrition assistance. Food aid is exempted, but anyone who knows the first thing about nutrition knows that you don't digest food very well without having clean water to drink. So, it is completely nonsensical. It is also going to do things like end vaccination programs. So the sort of programs that prevent outbreaks of disease in humanitarian settings, as well as just routine things like measles and polio vaccination for infants around the world. All of that now is in the process of being halted.
And I've heard that dozens of senior officials in the top USAID and Development Agency reportedly placed on leave Monday. An investigation is underway after they allegedly tried to go around President Trump's orders. Several hundred contractors were also reportedly laid off. What are you hearing about that?
This is very ominous. First, I don't buy for a moment the line that they were circumventing orders from President Trump. Whatever the personal views of USAID officials, many of whom I have worked with, they are civil servants. They will follow the policy guidance they've been given. In this case, the policy guidance they've been given is a complete mess. It is unclear. They have no clear guidance on how they're supposed to be making some of the determinations in this review. There's been no guidance given. I don't know how you circumvent guidance you haven't received. So it reads to me not like an effort to actually pursue a good faith review, but rather to intimidate career professionals at USAID into getting out of the way of some of the questionably lawful things that the Trump administration may seek to do. I think one of the things that's very ominous here is that reportedly many of the people who have been pushed out in this quasi-purge worked in the General Counsel's office, providing legal guidance to the organization.
Is it likely that aid organizations will be left with no choice but to also lay off staff?
That's already happening. Many of the major U.S. partners, and these are, I won't name them here because they have been also instructed by the U.S. government that they're not to talk publicly. But many name brand organizations are now on the cusp of having to lay off aid staff in critical relief responses and other programs around the world, because they now have no certainty that even the money that they have been lawfully granted by the U.S. government will remain available to them.
And of course, you oversaw USAID's multi-billion-dollar COVID-19 assistance portfolio during the pandemic. If the US moves away from delivering aid, what sort of signal does that send to the world going forward?
It just shows extraordinary unreliability. To the extent that the president believes that the U.S. is in a geopolitical competition with China, this amounts to a form of a unilateral disarmament of U.S. soft power around the world. It just makes no sense. It is harmful. It is callous. It is cruel, and it is also deeply counterproductive strategically.
Jeremy Konyndyk, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Intense fighting is ongoing in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a rebel offensive is dividing officials in both the DRC and Rwanda. Coming up, why hope still remains for a diplomatic resolution.